Don't move. You have something in your hair. I'm just gonna grab it, okay? Just don't move. Yup. Oh, got it. You see this? This is what we call a delicacy. When you just look at it, you just wanna. What's good, it's your boy CrossUp, aka your best average gamer, and it is finally time for the month of the monkey. And just so you guys are not confused out there, I am talking about Black Myth Wukong. Now FYI, this is the last video that I'm going to be doing for Black Myth Wukong until I'm actually playing it on the 20th, because there are still some things that I want to cover for Bleach and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and because Black Myth Wukong is so close to being released, I definitely want to give the other two some time to shine before I start popping off with this game. So what is it exactly that I'm going to be covering with Black Myth Wukong in this video? Well, that's a good question, and to answer that, we're going to be watching another video. So let's get to it. Now guys, I have said this once before and I'm going to say it again. I am not an information channel, and what that means is I'm not going out of my way to find every single thing about this game and giving you guys all of the information. I would rather be able to play this game without knowing everything about it so that you guys can get my full reaction for when I'm fully playing the game, because I do plan to finally beat a game on my channel for the first time, and this will be the game to be accomplished. So we're going to be watching this guy's video. His subscriber's name is Fun My Life. It's a very clear joke of him trying to say Fun My Life. I'm almost sure. It seems very clear. And there are some things that apparently I should know before actually playing this game, and apparently this guy has the information on it. Someone has told me, and that's why I've been led to this video. So let's go ahead and watch it. Now, of course, this is a 20-minute video. I don't know if I'm going to be showing the whole thing. Probably going to have a whole bunch of cuts. And on top of that, I will be probably pausing a lot of times just so I can stop and maybe ask some questions or clarify some things.
From the release of one of the year's most highly anticipated games in Black Myth Wukong.
I do believe it is probably one of the highest anticipated games, bro. Like the first time like this game dropped and it didn't have a release date on it, people were just expecting for it to never ever come out. It was so clean looking, and now that we actually are so close for it to coming out is very unbelievable, which is why I had a video called I Can't Believe It's Real, because the game looking like this, like Sekiro, a new Sekiro type game, is just what we needed.
For a big video to catch you all up for everything we know about the upcoming Journey to the West inspired action role-playing game, Black Myth Wukong.
I'm sure you guys know. I don't think I gotta explain it, but Journey to the West is what this game is based off of. You know, the whole monkey thing, the whole cloud, and everyone knows that Goku from Dragon Ball is based off of it too. At this point, it's just common knowledge, I would assume.
Side quests, story, game length, microtransactions.
When it comes to the story portion of this video, I might just skip it, just because I want to know everything about the story while I'm playing it. I don't want to be spoiled on anything. Like the lore is probably, it seems like it's going to be really good, but like I said, I don't want to go into this game knowing what's going on. I just like to go in raw. Ooh.
The game's story and
then part 3 story. Okay, so the last one will be the story.
Drop a fat like on this video.
Hey, that remind me too. Hold up. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the post notification so you guys can be notified on all my next videos. You know what? Thank you so much. I almost called him Fun My Life again. Fun My Life without the E and D. Thank you so much for the reminder. Same thing to you guys. Just don't forget, bro. It helps grow out the channel. All right. We skip.
And even contains 3 stances that alters the attacks of this weapon.
3 stances? What, like Neo?
Like Stellar Blade and God of War, Wukong has both a light and heavy attack, with gameplay here being more about aggression.
Is it really that? That's like... So, I guess like the comparison to a Souls-like game in God of War and Stellar Blade, like you just said, is it really just like on how the attacks are implemented into a game that makes it different compared to a Souls-like game or Soulsborne or whatever? Because I honestly just thought like for a game to be Souls-like, it'd have to have like at least a mechanic where it's super hard of a game, and then you're just pretty much in an open world, or at least linear to the point where you're capable of blocking and dodging. Now, if I do recall correctly, in this game there is no dodging. There is no blocking. I've heard that before, so maybe that's what separates it from being a Souls-like game. And on top of that, I would assume a game like this, you're gonna have more mechanics and stuff going into it, like more special abilities, probably more attacks than a normal average Dark Souls or Demon Souls type game, because obviously you are kind of limited in those type of games when it comes to you switching out your weapons, where I feel like in this type of game, because I guess like you said there's 3 stances, you're going to be able to switch between your styles more often, and you won't have to switch out your weapons to the point where it's completely different. So this frog kind of buff though. Oh boy, he's taking heck of stare. Actually, I don't think I can say that. I don't think I can talk about any kind of drugs on the channel, huh? Unless I want to get demonetized. Ooh.
Damage. While not entirely similar to it, this game is most similar to Bloodborne when compared to the Souls.
Yeah, but now see, he's comparing it to another Souls-like game. So I was like, it's confusing for me what's considered Souls-like and not. So because isn't Sekiro a Souls-like game? And to me, if I wasn't told that it was, especially developed by I think FromSoft, I would have never ever said that this to me was like a Dark Souls game. So to me, I feel like it's just whenever a game is difficult and you can freely move around is a Souls-like game. So
enough focus where the heavy attack actually becomes devastating. So in Black Myth Wukong, focus is a resource.
But you guys let me know in the comments what it really truly is to be a Souls-like game, because I am in the lost.
Pulling off perfect dodges, in which a player dodges right before getting hit. In regards to the dodging here, players can't just spam the dodge button every which way to get out of harm's way.
Right.
After a 3rd consecutive dodge, the player will be penalized with a lengthy recovery window, opening up the player to damage. Dodging when necessary without relying on spamming it is key to getting through the game's encounters.
Yeah, because you know, the biggest question too for this game, or for me at least, was, is this game going to be as hard as Sekiro? Because Sekiro is super challenging because you can't just freely move around and dodge everything and just spam one button. It really comes down to the timing. When you have what is it called, Makiri counter, where once you have to guess whether or not they're going to lunge forward, and if they lunge forward, you dash forward into them, which you're risking it, because if it's not the exact ability of what they're going to do towards you, and you don't see that little like red Japanese symbols on the top of their head, or I think it's Japanese, or Sekiro Chinese. No, Sekiro's Japanese. And you dash forward and it's not the exact counter that you're looking for. You're just going to get slapped across the face. And then now you're questioning whether or not if you should be dashing forward on what they do. I think one of the hardest challenges, because I have played Sekiro before, of knowing whether or not you can or can't do that, was against the owl, the secret boss, because he kept blinding you with a whole bunch of like the fireworks in front of your face, and then out of nowhere he'll come in and dash in towards you, and you don't know whether or not to dodge it, block it, or dash forward. So I wonder if this game is going to make you think just as much as Sekiro.
With the heavy attack button to inflict massive damage on enemies when the attack lands. And it is this element to the game, building up focus through standard attacks and timed dodges, and to unleash devastating strong attacks, that really sets the game apart.
Oh man, he just pooted in our face. Can you not,
just
bro?
Just like games like Sekiro is a dance of attacking along with perfect parries, so too is Black Myth Wukong. Except that instead of parries, you've got perfect dodges, trying to build up focus to cash in on powerful moves to increase your odds of survival. Talking about increasing your odds of survival, upon slaying enemy and boss Yao Guai, the player is
this time skip, I can tell it's going to be broken.
Equivalent to EXP. And upon acquiring will, the will bar will fill up. Once the will bar completely fills, this will net the player a resource called Spark, which is essentially a skill point. So this game's progression essentially. But see, too,
look at this. Look at this. You also got like a stamina bar, right? So I feel like if you have a stamina bar, it's also kind of Souls-like-ish. You have stamina, you have your MP. I just feel like in this game you just have more that's going on compared to your average Souls-like game. So
skill points and using them in the game's 3 extensive skill trees. The skill trees revolve around passive buffs, magic, and transformations.
Right.
And finally,
transformations are going to be like really big in this game.
These skills can be respec'd at any point, so no need to worry about having to stick with skill tree decisions that you ultimately were unhappy with. We mentioned magic and transformations being part of the skill trees, so let's dive into that, as this is an integral mechanic to Black Myth Wukong. The player
Right.
is able to slot up to 4 magic spells at any given time, with many more magic spells being able to be swapped out should you so choose. The spell Immobilize is a spell that comes in clutch, as players are able to freeze enemies in place for a few seconds, allowing players to dish out some damage without the fear of being attacked in the process. While standard enemies will be frozen in place for up to a few seconds, bosses will be immobilized for just a fraction of that time.
Okay,
Like
that's
pretty
good.
much every aspect of this game.
Because
can
I
be
mean, like, you don't
upgraded
want to get,
more
you don't want to pick up
potency.
like a super broken mechanic and then it works the same for every single thing, including the bosses. Because being able to free somebody in mid fight is kind of cracked. I'm not gonna lie.
Spell. In addition to Immobilize, reviewers remarked about the awesome ability for Wukong to morph into a select few of the mini-boss and
I remember
boss
watching this
creatures
video
to
for this.
unleash havoc across the battlefield as these boss characters. While morphed into these bosses, Wukong assumes the life bar of these creatures, and should these characters' life bars become
Question.
completely
So when you transform into these bosses, do you get some kind of armor? Like once you transform, I see like his health here turn white. I think that's what happened. Let me double check
Wukong
that. Let me
assumes the
confirm
life
that.
bar of these creatures,
Yeah, he
and
Yeah,
should these
let me back up a little more. Okay, yeah. See, so what I'm seeing here is like once he transforms, because he had like no health, he completely got his health bar back. So. And then right here, it looks like he's on a timer for like 16, 15 seconds. Okay, that's cool. But the timer seems to be different compared to each transformation. And how I'm already kind of like basing that already is because right here, he has like 96 seconds for this form. And this is where the bar is compared to when they were just showing the other one,
Wukong morphs
where he's down here for the bar and he only has 17 seconds left. This to here to 90 seconds doesn't make any sense. If it was 90 seconds, it'd probably be like right here. But, you know, that's just like a quick analysis. So I'm assuming each transformation is definitely going to have a different time because one might be stronger than the other.
Strategy that comes with the deployment of these magical properties. Finally, the game employs 3 stances. These stances
Okay,
are
yeah,
the
let's talk
Smash
more about
stance,
these
which is
stances.
the jack-of-all-trades stance, where Wukong contains both his standard light attacks with his heavy attacks being a
Right.
standard heavy hit that can be worked into a combo or used on its own with enough focus.
Hmm.
The Smash stance is the default stance and first stance introduced to players. The second stance, the Pillar stance, unlocked at level 5, is a stance where, upon holding down the heavy attack button, has Wukong perch atop his staff.
Okay,
the staff
okay.
growing larger and larger,
So
hoisting
that's
Wukong
good
higher.
to know. So what it sounds like to me for these stances is you don't have to rely on all 3. If you're comfortable with one stance, play with that one stance till you fully understand it. Then you can roll around to the other 2, and then you'll be able to switch them up. The more skilled you get at the game, the more you'll be more comfortable to actually rotate between it. Unlike something like Neo, where you have to freaking know every single stance in order to play the game, let alone move around to keep your stamina bar. I hate that game. I don't gotta bring back the PTSD. It's okay. Just calm down, Ezra. We don't got to remember those days. It's okay. It's over now.
Optional second phases to them. Revealed from German strands on X, certain boss fights will transition into an optional second phase if the player manages to defeat the boss within a certain time frame.
What?
To rampage through such fights could have
What?
the tight
Wait,
turned on.
no, don't tell me that, bro. That makes me feel like I really gotta like beat a boss in like 2 seconds. And then what if you miss a boss fight? Like the secret ending because there's gonna be so much with this game I can already tell. The real question is, how many bosses are in this game? That's the real question.
As these optional second phase
'Cause I'm
encounters
like,
ramp
I'm
up
gonna
the
wanna see
difficulty
every single
considerably,
phase.
providing a challenge for those skilled enough to unlock them in the first
Wow,
place.
skilled
What could be
enough.
described
Oh,
as
I
game
better see
science's
every
take
single
on a
freaking
dynamic
second
difficulty.
phase.
In an article from VG247, the author Dom Pepiot had this to say about how certain boss encounters subverted his expectations during his demo playthrough at Summer Game Fest. Design choices like unassuming bosses that fall with a fair
This game
amount
was
of
playable at
focus,
Summer
but
Game
then
Fest. I mean, I
still
heard
life
something about it
uniform and
being at
with
Summer Game
full
Fest, but I
control.
don't
They
think it
sucker
was
punch you
playable
into
to
a
everyone,
false
huh?
sense of security, then take advantage of your dented life bar and kill you as you try to suck the last remaining charge from your definitely not an Estus flask. It remains unclear what these time thresholds are for these select boss fights to engage in the optional
That's
second
dope.
phases, and if additional rewards like more EXP or loot will be rewarded to the player should they conquer these optional second phase encounters. But this is certainly a unique component of Black Myth Wukong that we haven't really seen in the action role-playing genre. With the game launching with New Game Plus, this unique boss aspect will undoubtedly provide players with additional content and challenges in subsequent runs, further extending the replayability of this game. If you are curious about how long the game may take to finish,
how long is this game going to be?
GameScience stated back in 2020 that it would take around 15 hours to get through an average playthrough.
What? 15 hours isn't a lot? What? Go back? Wait, but when was that said? 15 hours is not a long time at all. Okay, so that's not real.
Back in 2020 that it would take
2020,
to get through
that's not real. The length probably for playing this game probably increased by like tenfold.
The studio has grown considerably since this statement was made, but regardless, with over 80 boss fights, many of which containing optional second phases and with plenty of side quests, there definitely seems to be no
8 boss fights, but how many boss fights we got now? Because obviously they increased it since then.
German Strands on X reports that the game will also feature no microtransactions. That is something
that's a dub. That's a dub right there, bro. Give us a full game.
A lot of people have been talking about this game like it's a Souls-like game, but like we discussed going
Okay, please,
combat,
yes, explain to me.
Is actually quite different in many ways. Unlike FromSoft's Soulsborne games and many other games within the genre, Black Myth Wukong players will be able to pause the game at any point.
Do not tell me that is the only reason that makes a Souls-like game is because you can pause the screen. It's funny. Do not say that. Can't you pause Sekiro?
On top of that,
can you? I don't remember. I don't remember if you could pause in the middle of a fight in Sekiro.
You're still able to hold on to most of your valuable unused XP should you meet your untimely death. In addition, players can upgrade their stats at any point, even while in combat. With players able to freely reallocate skill points and respect their character, this definitely adds a layer of accessibility.
Okay, so it's just like simple mechanics. Losing your souls is not a part of this game, really. You can be able to level up your character in the middle of a fight.
Large, interconnected, and sprawling worlds. Black Myth Wukong, on the other hand, is confirmed to be mission-based, featuring linear levels with lots of invisible walls, with some branching pathways that can lead to secret areas that lay host to
okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because I guess in like Dark Souls and stuff, there's really no like real like guide or mission that you're following, because really Dark Souls 1 there was not much being explained. You were just kind of moving forward, if I recall correctly. Or I guess this game is going to have more like missions and stuff that are going to guide you around, kind of like God of War. So okay, I see now.
Bosses and the like. While the developers at GameScience admittedly said that the demo at Summer Game Fest presented the game in more of a boss rush format, that the game is indeed largely linear, with some levels featuring large.
But it looks very beautiful as a linear game.
Side quests, secret bosses, loot, and
secret bosses, you know I love that. I'm not saying I'm a masochist or anything, but I definitely like getting the achievements of beating bosses when they're difficult.
What you will get is a more focused experience, largely guiding you from one bombastic set piece and boss fight to the other in a finely crafted experience, deliberately paced to hold.
We got the jingle bells on his back.
Epic world chock full of boss fights, story, and RPG progression. It has also been confirmed that there are no difficulty options in
on that topic aside, it seems like there's going to be a lot going for this game. It seems like they're putting out a lot for it. So it's like, you know, we got a whole bunch of different fighting mechanics. We got the transformations. We got side quests. It seems like we're going to have a lot of bosses. Of course, one thing that I really want to know is how many ads they're really going to be adding into this game, because if there's not a lot of ads and they keep doing a lot of reused creatures and stuff, it's going to get boring. So if they can just keep adding in a whole bunch of new creatures, bosses and stuff, that's what's really going to make this game pop more, because if not, we're just going to have another Wukong scenario where you're just going to see the same ad over and over and over again. But honestly, I feel like for this game, they're probably adding in more than expected, so I think we'll be fine on that. And as far as the difficulty, if they're saying no difficulty setting, that means that they believe this game is going to be hard enough for anyone that touches this game.
Alright, now we gotta address Black Myth Wukong's level design. There have been a lot of statements claiming the game is a boss rush, with very little regarding the environments that connect these fights, so let's clear all that up in this section. First,
I mean, I feel like Sekiro was kind of a boss rush. How many bosses were in that game?
An open world game. And speaking of level design, a spokesperson from GameScience told Eurogamer during Summer Game Fest, "It's a linear game propelled by the storyline," said a spokesperson from GameScience. In some levels, the map is much bigger than what you just had, referring to the 2-hour demo at Summer Game Fest. However,
That's good, that's
we
good.
won't say that we're an open world game. In other interviews, Game Science flat out states that the game is not an open world game, suggesting that a team of their size is just not capable of creating an open world tying together all these settings cohesively. That said,
I
of the
feel it.
levels that are in the game, some are a bit more expansive than others, and these levels are said to host NPCs within them that offer side quests, and upon completing
But
them,
look, it's
rewards the
like
player
we might not have an open world, but the game looks completely beautiful, and linear games are not bad, especially when you have really epic boss battles. Like most of the Dark Souls games, actually, I don't think not a single Dark Souls game is open world, and we love all of those games. So
with loot and some
and God of War
cutscenes
isn't
that
even really
further flesh out the
open world,
narrative,
to be honest.
according
Like
to
1, 2, and 3,
Factual.com.
beautiful
This
games, all
aspect,
linear.
the optional secrets, NPCs,
So can you really
and side
complain if we're not
quests
getting an
have
open
not
world
been
game
explored
when it
much
looks
in the
this
trailers
beautiful?
and gameplay demos we've seen over the months and years, but rest assured, they are very much part of the game when Black Myth: Wukong releases later this month. What we have seen and heard plenty of are the numerous boss fights that punctuate almost entirely linear levels, as evidenced by the press takeaways of the game during Summer Game Fest.
Bro, this
with
Keaton
some
Dragon
reporters
looking
stating
kind of
that the
crazy,
game
though. I be
felt
seeing
like
him
a
all the
boss
time
rush at
when they talk
times.
about this game.
So yes, we indeed have a lot of bosses, said Game Science. What you played is the Chapter 1 of this game, and when we designed this chapter, we wanted the players to be able to ease into the game and get used to the battles. Game Science continued with, however, this is not final, likely referring to the level that the journalists played, and we are keeping on making improvements and adjustments based on the feedback we get from you guys.
Solid.
We will make the cadence better in the future. The purpose of this chapter is that we want players to experience
I mean, they had
different types of
they had a heck of time for this game, like years. I feel like when this game was first announced, I think it was like 3-4 years ago, and I was super hyped for it. So they had time for this game, and when they first showed it, it already kind of looked like how it is now. So hopefully they have improved and gotten the things that the fans wanted. Hopefully they're going to be dropping out some more. Like honestly, I'm shocked they haven't dropped out more stuff for this game, because for a game that's super anticipated, I haven't seen anything like new for it coming from the creators, unless I've missed something. If you guys know something that I don't, just go ahead, drop the video in the comment section for me. But I'm usually good at seeing the new stuff for this, so I don't think they have actually made something new
bosses
for it.
at the very beginning.
Especially since
While
there's
some
like
prospective
no time
players
left.
may
Maybe it's
not
because
take
there's no
issue
time
with
left.
the
They
amount
haven't
of
dropped
bosses
anything.
in the game.
No, I'm not gonna lie, guys. When I was trying to skip through a little bit of the video, my internet just kind of cut out, but it's okay, because the rest he was gonna discover anyway was a whole bunch of story stuff that I did not want to watch in the first place. Now, one thing that he did cover that I think I kind of skipped over because I was talking about some other stuff is there are going to be over 80 bosses, which means this game is going to be super long. And because they said that the maps are going to be a lot bigger than people are expecting, double the size compared to what people had got to see at the Gaming Expo, this is going to be a very fun game. Oh, I hope it's a very fun game anyway. And because there are so many bosses, it means there's going to be a lot more creativity of what this game is going to offer. And because there are multiple different types of playstyles, I have a feeling this is going to be a game that I enjoy, and hopefully you guys will enjoy with me on this journey. So if it's your boy Cross Up, if I crossed you up once, I can do it again. Peace.